Can second chances at love deserve a perfect wedding? After years of struggle and heartbreak, can a dock worker's savings buy more than just a ceremony? Can it buy dignity, hope, and a new beginning? Today we witness Ly Tu Huyen's journey from survival to celebration. Stay with us as love finds its rightful place in the mountains of Vietnam. The evening sun cast golden light across the small house. As Ly returned from the docks, his calloused hands clutching a worn envelope. For months, he had set aside every spare dong from his work loading and unloading cargo at the riverside. Each coin represented hours of back-breaking labor, sweat under the scorching sun, and dreams whispered to himself during long shifts. Today, that envelope held enough to make those dreams real. Huyen was preparing dinner when Ly entered, his face glowing with an emotion she hadn't seen before. Pure, unbridled joy. "Huyen," he said softly, his voice trembling slightly. "I have something to tell you." She turned from the stove, concern flickering across her features. Had something happened? Was he hurt? Ly opened the envelope and spread the bills on the table. "It's enough," he said simply. "Enough for our wedding." The wooden spoon clattered from Huyen's hand. Her eyes widened, filled instantly with tears that spilled down her cheeks. A wedding! The word seemed foreign to her, like something from another lifetime. Or perhaps from a life she'd never truly lived. Her first marriage had been rushed, devoid of celebration. Just a formality before Thuck's gambling dragged them into darkness. She had been 18, pregnant, and desperate for stability. There had been no wedding dress, no guests, no moment of joy. Just signatures on paper and a future that crumbled within months. "Ly, you saved this? For us?" Her voice broke on the last word. He crossed the room and took her hands in his. "You deserve to be a bride, Huyen. Not just on paper, but in front of everyone. I want the whole village to witness our love, to celebrate with us. I want Maya to see her mother honored and happy." The memories flooded back, standing outside her mother-in-law's house in the rain. 3-year-old Maya clinging to her leg, both of them with nowhere to go. The nights in abandoned shelters, Maya crying from hunger while Huyen had nothing to give her. The shame of being discarded, disposable, worth less than the roof over their heads. For so long, Huyen had believed she didn't deserve happiness, that her past mistakes had forfeited her right to dreams. But Ly saw something different. He saw a woman of strength, a devoted mother, a partner worthy of celebration. "It won't be fancy," Ly continued, his rough thumbs wiping away her tears. "But it will be ours. We'll have it here, at home, in 1 month. Just our neighbors, the people who've supported us. Good food, simple decorations, and the mountains as our witness." Maya burst through the door at that moment, her small face flushed from playing outside. "Mama, why are you crying? Did something bad happen?" Huyen knelt down and pulled her daughter close. "No, my sweet girl. Something wonderful is happening. Ly and I are getting married. We're going to have a real family." Maya's eyes went wide with delight. "Like in the stories? With a pretty dress and a party?" Ly crouched beside them, his large hand gentle on Maya's head. "Just like in the stories, little one. And you'll be the most beautiful flower girl the mountains have ever seen." The child squealed with excitement, dancing around the small room. Her joy was infectious, filling the space with light that no lamp could match. This was what Ly had worked for. Not just a ceremony, but this moment of pure happiness, the transformation of pain into promise. That night, after Maya had fallen asleep, Ly and Huyen sat together on the wooden steps outside their home. The mountain air was cool and clean, stars scattered across the sky like seeds of hope. Huyen leaned against Ly's shoulder, feeling the steady rhythm of his breathing, the solid warmth of his presence. "Thank you," she whispered, "for seeing me when I was invisible, for believing I was worth saving." "You were never invisible, Huyen," Day replied quietly. "You were always light, just waiting for someone to notice." The next morning marked the beginning of their wedding preparations, and the small house buzzed with new energy. Day and Huyen sat together over breakfast, creating lists and making plans. They had 30 days to prepare, and every detail mattered, not because it needed to be perfect, but because it needed to be theirs. Their first stop was the weekly mountain market, a colorful gathering where villagers from surrounding areas came to trade goods and share news. The market sprawled across a hillside clearing, filled with vendors selling everything from fresh vegetables to hand-woven textiles. The air smelled of grilled corn, medicinal herbs, and the earthy sweetness of mountain honey. Huyen's eyes were drawn to a fabric stall where bolts of cloth in every color imaginable were displayed. Traditional Vietnamese ao dye materials hung from bamboo poles, silk, satin, and cotton in shades that captured the essence of their homeland. Day watched as Huyen's fingers traced over a simple but elegant dusty rose fabric, her expression wistful. "That one," Day said decisively to the vendor. "We'll take enough for an ao dye." "Day, it's expensive," Huyen protested softly, though her eyes betrayed her longing. "You'll only get married once more in this lifetime," he replied with a smile. "And you'll be the most beautiful bride these mountains have ever seen." The vendor, an elderly woman with knowing eyes, smiled warmly at them. "Young man knows what matters," she said in the musical dialect of the Highlands. "Love is worth celebrating properly." They also selected fabric for Maya's dress, a cheerful pink that made the little girl clap her hands in delight when she saw it later. For Day, they found a tailor who could make a modest vest and trousers in deep charcoal gray. It wouldn't be an expensive Western suit, but it would be clean, well-fitted, and dignified. Everything Day wanted to be on his wedding day. The following week, Huyen had her first fitting. The local seamstress, Mrs. Lan, had a reputation for creating beautiful ao dye that honored tradition while flattering the wearer. When Huyen emerged from behind the privacy screen, wearing the partially completed dress, even the practical Mrs. Lan paused in her work. The dusty rose fabric draped elegantly over Huyen's slender frame, the traditional high collar and long sleeves lending grace to her movements. The pants underneath flowed like water with each step. Huyen caught sight of herself in the small mirror and barely recognized the woman looking back. Not the exhausted single mother scraping by, but a bride, radiant and worthy. Dee, waiting outside, was called in to see. When his eyes met Huyen's reflection, the emotion on his face said everything words couldn't. This was his bride, his partner, his future. Planning the menu became a joyful project. They would serve traditional Highland dishes, succulent man pork, slow-cooked with forest herbs, 5-colored sticky rice representing the 5 elements, spring rolls packed with fresh vegetables, and mountain chicken prepared with local spices. Dee's friend, who ran a small restaurant, agreed to help with the cooking in exchange for an invitation to the celebration. They would make their own rice wine, following the ancient methods of the mountain people, fermenting it with corn and forest yeasts that gave it a distinctive, slightly sweet flavor. It wasn't expensive imported wine, but it was authentic, tied to the land they called home. The house itself needed preparation. Day spent his evenings after work repairing loose boards, repainting the weathered wooden shutters, and ensuring everything was sturdy and welcoming. Huyen scrubbed every surface until it gleamed, hung curtains she'd sewn herself, and arranged wildflowers in recycled jars to bring color and life to each room. Maya became their enthusiastic assistant, her small hands helping to fold paper decorations and string lights. Day taught her to make traditional red paper lanterns, showing her how to carefully cut and fold the paper until it transformed into glowing orbs of celebration. She took her responsibility seriously, her little face scrunched in concentration as she worked. The village responded to their preparations with warmth. Neighbors offered to help with decorations, to lend tables and chairs, to contribute dishes to the feast. Mrs. Chen from down the road promised to make her famous banana flower salad. Mr. Min, who played traditional instruments, volunteered to provide music. The wedding was becoming a community celebration, a testament to how Day and Huyen had woven themselves into the fabric of village life. As the days passed, the house transformed. Red and gold paper lanterns hung from the eaves, catching sunlight during the day and glowing like small suns when lit at night. Bamboo poles were erected to create a simple archway, which Huyen decorated with jasmine vines and wild orchids from the hillsides. The humble home began to look like a place where magic could happen, where two broken people could become whole together. With 1 week remaining until the wedding, a different kind of preparation began. The emotional and spiritual preparation that couldn't be purchased or built. In the evenings, after Maya had gone to bed, Day and Huyen would sit together on their front steps, looking out over the mountain landscape that had become their sanctuary. "I keep thinking about what life will be like after," Huyen confessed one night, her hand nestled in Day's. "Not just the wedding day, but all the days after, building something real, something lasting." Day squeezed her hand gently. "Tell me what you imagine." Huyen's voice grew soft, thoughtful. "I imagine Maya growing up here, surrounded by these mountains, learning to be strong but kind. Having a father." Her voice caught slightly. "A real father who shows up every day, who teaches her what a good man looks like. I imagine her never knowing the fear I knew, never feeling unwanted or disposable. She'll know safety," Day promised. "Both of you will. That's my vow to you, Huyen. Even before we speak our vows in front of everyone, I will show up every single day. I will work hard, come home tired, and still find energy to be present. I will love Maya as my own, because she is my own. Love isn't just biology. It's choice, commitment, daily dedication." Tears slipped down Huyen's cheeks, but they were clean tears, healing tears. "I never thought I deserved this. After everything, after Thuk, after being thrown out like garbage, after all those nights of uncertainty, I convinced myself that struggle was my destiny." "It was never your destiny," Day said firmly. "It was your circumstance, and circumstances can change. You are worthy, Huyen. You've always been worthy." But even in their happiness, shadows lingered at the edges of Huyen's mind. What if Thuk got out of prison and came looking for her? What if his parents discovered where she lived and demanded access to Maya? What if Tui, Dee's ex-wife, returned with some claim on the life he was building? Sensing her tension, Dee turned to face her fully. "I know you're afraid," he said quietly. "I am too, sometimes. The past has a way of reaching forward, trying to pull us back. But here's what I know. We face it together. Whatever comes, we're not alone anymore. Your battles are my battles. My struggles are your struggles. That's what marriage means to me." The honesty in his words, the unwavering steadiness of his presence, helped ease the knot of anxiety in Huyen's chest. This was different from before. Thuk had made promises too, but they'd been hollow, spoken without understanding their weight. Dee's promises were built on foundation stones of action. Months of showing up, of providing, of choosing them every single day. 3 days before the wedding, they took Maya on a walk up the mountain path to watch the sunset. The little girl ran ahead, chasing butterflies and collecting interesting stones, while Day and Huyen followed hand in hand. When they reached the overlook, the valley spread before them like a painted scroll. Rice terraces catching the golden light, rivers threading through green hillsides, small houses with smoking chimneys dotting the landscape. "This is where I want to grow old," Day said suddenly. "Right here, with you, watching sunsets and counting our blessings." Maya called out from where she was playing. "Look, I found a heart-shaped rock." She ran back to them, presenting her treasure with solemn pride. Huyen took the stone, smooth and warm from the child's hand. Its shape was indeed heart-like, as if nature itself was offering a blessing. "We'll keep this forever," she told Maya, as a reminder of this moment, right before our family became official. As darkness began to fall, they made their way back down the mountain. Lights from their village twinkled below, a constellation of home fires and hopes. In just 3 more days, in that small house among those lights, Day and Huyen would speak vows that transformed surviving into thriving, that turned strangers into family, that proved love could bloom even in the thinnest soil, if tended with care. The mountains stood eternal around them, silent witnesses to countless stories of human perseverance and hope. And soon, they would witness one more, the marriage of 2 people who had every reason to give up, but chose instead to believe in tomorrow. From the depths of heartbreak to the heights of hope, Day and Huyen's journey reminds us that life's second chapters can be more beautiful than the first. Their upcoming wedding won't feature expensive venues or designer gowns, won't be photographed by professionals or catered by 5-star chefs. But it will have something far more precious: authenticity, hard-won joy, and the presence of a community that has watched them rise from struggle to strength. Sometimes the most meaningful celebrations are the simplest ones, where every detail represents sacrifice and love, where every guest understands the journey that led to this moment. Day and Huyen's wedding is a testament to the truth that dignity doesn't require wealth, that honor comes from character, and that the most valuable things in life cannot be purchased. They must be built, day by day, choice by choice. What will happen on their wedding day? Will their happiness remain undisturbed, or will shadows from the past arrive uninvited? Join us next time as we witness Day and Huyen finally say, "I do." Thank you for being part of their story. Subscribe to Life Single Review and ring the notification bell so you don't miss their special day. Because here, every single story matters, and every love deserves to be celebrated. This is Life Single Review, where we believe in second chances and the power of love to heal even the deepest wounds.